Welcome back to the Practice Partners podcast with Amy and Zach. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Zach.
What's going
I'm in my
on?
cozies today.
I love
It's
it.
gloomy outside.
It is gloomy, but it's very bright.
I feel really cozy, so I'm going to cuddle up. You haven't told me what we're talking about today, so I kind of feel like I'm underprepared.
Well, I do love springing these episodes on you like this. And look, they've always ended up really good, so we shouldn't complain because I'm pretty sure the last one I did this to was like maybe top ratings or something. I don't know. Anyway,
What's that?
I'll have to check
Oh,
the
there
data.
you go.
However,
The
what I
pressure's
want to do
on.
today is a little bit of a quick fire, true or false. So this might be a 10-minute episode. It could be a half an hour episode again because I'm not sure how long your answers will be. But I'd love you to do a true or a false and then a little bit of an explanation. But if you get a little bit too long, I'm going to tell you to tone it down and we'll move on to the next one.
Just make me like.
I did figure out I can mute you from my end, so that's pretty cool. I can just mute you and enjoy the silence.
Sounds good.
All right, do you have any concerns about my true or false questions first?
It's you. I'm concerned in general that it's unpredictable.
You've kept me employed for a long time for someone you're a bit concerned about.
I'm not concerned about you in general. I'm concerned of what comes out of your mouth when you surprise me.
Yes.
It could be anything.
No, fair call. Well, there's only 20 questions, so it won't be long and we'll get through them. But let's just start. I'm going to ask the question and then you give me a true or false answer. And then if you feel like you need to elaborate, you can elaborate. But you have to give me a true or a false, not a maybe.
All right, let's go. I'm ready for this.
All right, let's go. True or false, most general practices are underutilising their nurses.
True.
True, she says. Do you want to elaborate on that at all? Or don't need to?
Obviously. Have you listened to our podcast? Yeah, absolutely they are. I think a lot of the times they're not running their own appointment books, and if they are, they're not the doctors aren't allowing them or empowering them to be able to see patients, talk to patients about opportunities. They should be there to complement the doctor, not sitting there doing things right next to them. They should be working independently, complementing what they do to enhance the overall proactive and preventative medicine.
Love it. True or false, a busy waiting room usually means the practice is profitable.
False.
Big false.
Big false. I think it's a misconception when people look at it and they go, oh, they must be like that. The same thing goes is, oh, it must be a good GP practice if they're full. It could mean that the doctor themselves are running behind. It could be that there's poor operating systems. There could be a number of reasons why. It could be just a small waiting room for the number of consult rooms. There's a number of reasons why a waiting room can be full. But when you run a sufficient and efficient appointment book, it shouldn't necessarily be full all the time with patients waiting around. It should be a pretty constant movement of patients in and out.
True. True or false, every clinic has at least one doctor who runs late regardless of their schedule.
I mean, I'd have to say true. Probably more sometimes.
True. Love it.
True, because, yes, look, one of the biggest it's not really a concern. I wouldn't even call it a problem. It is common for GPs to run behind, but it could be let's be on their side here, for a mountain of reasons. You know, Mrs. Jones takes a bit longer because she comes in with 50,000 things and in a matter of time, and most of them are urgent. It could be that an emergency has happened. It could be that a phone call came through from a specialist or from the hospital because one of the patients that is that doctor's patient has arrived there and needs some information. So there's a mountain of reasons why they can run late. So let's not poo-poo them too much. But yeah, generally there is usually one or more doctors in a practice that notoriously run late from probably more so disorganisation.
Yeah, let's not poo-poo them. Love that comment. True or false, most practices are leaving Medicare revenue on the table without even realising it.
Yes, true. Because of opportunities. They're not looking at a patient holistically. They're looking at a patient for what a patient comes in for. Now, if you use all of the health assessments, any assessments that the Medicare put together, they're there for a reason. It is there for proactive, preventative, overall better health outcomes for the patient. Now, if we are seeing a patient just because they come in for a flu and we're treating just the flu every time they come in, we're giving them a script, we're giving them a medical certificate, but we're not looking at their overall health, you're not utilising the MBS for what the MBS is supposed to be used for. And that means you're not getting the patient health outcomes that you're there to do, you're there to provide, you're there to assist with.
Yeah, love it. True or false, if one printer stops working, the entire clinic slows down?
Should be false, but in some cases it's true. It should be false because one printer should not be the detriment for the whole team. Redirect it to another printer, for God's sake, and keep moving on. However, quite often that doctor then knocks on half a dozen other doctors' doors, in the practice manager's doors. They interrupt the front desk, and heaven or high water, someone cut their left leg off. But no, it is just the printer that stopped working. Yep. So shouldn't be, but quite often it is.
Love that. What about true or false? Culture problems in a clinic usually start at the leadership level.
True. Absolutely. Practice what you preach. People also act like those in leadership around them. So if you are holding poor values or you're not in line with the values of the practice and the owner of the practice, then yes, your staff will soon follow suit. So if you practice what you preach, you display good culture, good morals, and exercise efficiency, resourcefulness, motivation and empowerment, then your team will follow suit. If they see you arriving, not saying hello, being down in the dumps, not offering to help, not being resourceful and leaving things on the table, then absolutely they're going to do the same because you're setting that standard.
True or false, the phrase, it will only take a minute, almost never takes a minute.
Never. It is true that I think it's true that I'm answering that.
It is true.
True. You got me with the phrase. True that. It is definitely, it does not take a minute. It's kind of like saying that the same saying goes along the lines of, I don't mean to offend you, but always offends people.
Always offensive.
Yeah.
True or false, a strong practice manager can completely transform a clinic's performance?
True. If you are on the pulse, your finger is on the pulse and you are looking at your role, and this is a big one, and this question is a bit open-ended. Practice manager's role, there is no standardized role for a practice manager, but as a practice manager, if you are looking at all elements of the practice being operational, financial, if you're looking at elements of marketing, HR, and you've got your business hat on at all times, as well as you've got a strong culture and you're leading that, then yeah, absolutely you can transform a practice. If a practice manager doesn't have those things, they can also ruin one just as quick.
For sure. True or false, most practices only use a fraction of what their practice management software can actually do.
Yes, true. It's underutilized severely, quite often. And I would even say myself, whilst we strive to do the best we can with all of our IT integrations, there are a few that we pay for that we just don't use as much as we should. Sure. And the practice management software system, there is so many changes with every update. Being fully utilised would be rare. But what I would suggest is keep up to date with what's available and be curious. Open up every tab, tick every button, see what things do and why they do them. Attend webinars about different things. Hot Docs forever changing, Cubico's forever changing. Any system that you have in your practice, get to know it, be a guru at that system. And if you can't utilise it yourself, train your team to utilise it, because there's no point in having it there if you're not going to utilise it to its full potential.
Yeah, for sure. True or false, reception teams have more influence on patient experience than doctors realise?
True. It's the first person they see. It's the first person they hear when they call the practice.
And the last.
And the last person. So you look at essentially what you think of when you come into a medical centre, and if it's a happy, smiling receptionist that's super accommodating, that isn't on the phone, not looking at them, ignoring them, that is going to set a tone for that entire appointment. So very important for the front desk to, I guess, hold the flag for the practice.
Is it true or false every clinic has a mystery drawer full of cables that nobody knows the purpose of?
True. I also have one of those at home.
Don't tell me, bottom drawer in the kitchen.
Actually, no, I moved it in the new house.
Oh,
it's now in the laundry.
In the laundry.
The reason I moved it, because it would just seem to be easy to put it there.
Yep.
So everything would go there, and it became cords, it became clips, it became hair ties, it became pens, spare batteries, it became, and you know what? I was like, I don't even know what's in there and I'm scared to open it. And at one point it didn't open. So I moved it to the laundry so it's harder to dump stuff there.
Can I ask what you put in the bottom drawer in the kitchen now?
It's the plastic straw.
Okay. Interesting.
It's the kids stuff. So when I asked Tommy to go get a bowl, that's his drawer.
Great. Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. True or false, many practices mistake being busy for being well run.
True. And listen to our busy what's it called? Busy Mindset, is it?
It is.
Our podcast, that'll explain all of this, but this is the big bugbear of mine. Don't tell me you're busy when you're just being inefficient. Busy is not necessarily being efficient and effective. Don't confuse the two.
True or false, if the practice manager takes a day off, something unexpected will definitely go wrong.
Should not be the case. It should be a false. It should be a big, massive false, but often is a true. And if it is a true, I think that's a part of the practice manager that she needs to self-reflect. If your team can't run without you, there's a big problem in place. So you should be upskilling your team to ensure that practice runs smoothly regardless if you're there or not. So should be a false, but often a true.
Love that. True or false, a clear role description can prevent most staff conflict in any clinic?
True. Get everyone to know what they're supposed to be doing. Give everyone a lane. Give everyone that sense of empowerment and that sense of ownership on what they're doing. Less time to sit around and bitch and whinge about things. Sorry about the swear word.
Love that.
But also it gives clear structure. So when there is a discipline or a training issue, it's quite easily identifiable within that. So if they're trained and know what they're doing, they're empowered to do what they need to do, and they know where they fit within the business and what the overall business structure is and where their spoke fits in the wheel, then the wheel will continue to turn. If no one knows what their spoke is and how their spoke fits in that wheel, those spokes can fall down and that wheel will stop.
Love an analogy. True or false, Amy can usually spot any inefficiencies in a practice within 5 minutes of walking in.
2, false. Yeah, and I think the reason for that is, and you often have practice managers say, not just me as an owner, but someone else as an owner walking in, they'll say, oh, but they come in and they just pick things to pieces. Remember, we look at it with different eyes. We walk in and we don't see it every day. So we walk in and we see things. We see things that we've built from the ground up. We see things that our blood, sweat, tears, finances go into. We look at things in a different way. So it's not that we're picking, it's that we're passionate in a different way. There's things that you might look at that we don't as well. So don't take it as a negative, take it as a positive and look and think about it as well. I'll look at that next time.
Love that. Perhaps a true or false for the new practice managers that half of practice management is solving problems that you did not create.
True. And that's same with an owner as well. And I think you've got to remember in a practice management role, your role is to know everything, the ins and the outs, the roundabouts about the practice. So it's a good thing that you're dragged into everything so that you have the ability to be able to control and ensure that those things don't happen again. So if you don't know about everything that's going in the practice, those things will continue to happen until that something actually big falls down. If you know about them, you can put strategy and processes in place to ensure they don't happen again. So not necessarily a bad thing.
Love that. True or false, every staff room microwave in general practice has seen something questionable.
True. And probably continues to look questionable time and time again until the owner or one of the managers come in and decides to throw the thing out. But it is a very common thing. I think also the kettle, I think we had a kettle that wasn't working, or a toaster. If you turn that toaster upside down, it'll be at least a year's worth of crumbs in there. And let's not open up the cheese toasty maker because that'll be the same.
Yeah, no good. True or false, most clinics do not have a clear operational strategy for growth.
True, unfortunately. But with the new accreditation standards, that's going to change. So with the new accreditation standards, that's telling us that we need to have an active management plan and business plan going forward, add a financial forecast in that, why not? So yes, it is true, and that is one of the reasons why the accreditation is now lifting that bar. So get onto it if you're not already, because it's super important to have a path. You know yourself, you go for a bushwalk and there's no path, you can end up anywhere. Got a path and you'll always end up at your destination.
Love that. True or false, running a general practice is about 20% healthcare and 80% problem solving.
True. Like running any business, doesn't matter what industry you're in, it'll always be heavily swayed between HR, marketing, financials and operations in whatever element, and very little, sometimes very, very little in regards to what industry you're in. Yes, you can tailor everything to the industry you're in, but you've got to remember we're still dealing with people, we're still dealing with customers or clients, and we're still dealing with the outside world and the economy. So it's always going to be that way.
Fantastic. Lucky last question. You wouldn't believe it, Amy, before we throw to something else. It's true or false. Amy has mentally redesigned an entire clinic workflow before finishing her first coffee every morning.
True. Usually before 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Probably true. Probably to my detriment. But that's something that I love. Find what you love and do what you love, right? So you might not love it about me, but how fun is it when I have a new thing every morning? It's like exciting, right?
Look, keeps me on my toes. Nothing like a 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. email from you, or perhaps one of each of those hours, and more than happy to wake up to them and or even be awake on the other end. Whatever.
I was going to say, I reckon we've had some chat about that time. So don't you start poo-pooing me.
No, I think it keeps us all excited and engaged.
In saying that, and may not be in a medical centre space, but there's something new and exciting coming to Practice Partners that we've been working on. And I've been working on, and I've been developing the workflows and the algorithms for and the methodologies for. So coming soon. Nice little segue into that, Zac.
Absolutely.
And that was something that came up at one of those hours. Anyway, but super passionate about it. So looking forward to bringing that to you.
Nothing like a 3 a.m. thought.
Nothing like it.
Oh, well, anything else you want to add to our true or false round? I think everybody that's listened is probably well and truly sick of me saying true or false at the start of each one of those 20 questions.
That was actually fun.
It's good fun. I think we'll do it again.
Not scary at all. Oh, I keep hitting that. Not scary at all. Thanks, Zac. I love the true or false. I love the ability to be able to just quick fire a few of those things off and also give people probably a little bit of a laugh throughout it as well.
It's a good way to get through multiple topics and give people a chuckle on their way to or from work.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your day or your night. See you.